I'm Todd Matthews, and on Wednesdays at this point, we always present and have for over a decade now something called Ask the Lawyer with attorney for the injured, Bruce L. Shiner. If you happen to be a newcomer this morning, this is the opportunity to learn more about the law, and you can even submit a question for future consideration. I'll tell you how to go about that in just a moment as well. But first, would you please help me welcome Bruce L. Shiner, attorney for the injured. Good morning, Bruce.
Hey, good morning, Todd. How are you doing this beautiful morning?
Excellent. How are you doing?
I couldn't be better.
I figured as much. Always got a positive thing to say. I asked him right before we went on air, are you ready to roll? He says, I'm ready to rock and roll. And I believe that that's how you approach a lot of things in life. That's sort of your philosophy, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see what you can do with this email.
My glass is always half full.
I have discovered that over the last decade plus, and that's one of the reasons we enjoy talking with you on Wednesdays. Let's see what you can do with today's email and maybe extend some of that positivity to somebody who's going through something.
Okay.
All right, here's what it says. I slipped and fell inside a grocery store off of Harbor Boulevard after stepping on a wet area near the produce section. I think I know where they're talking about. There were no warning signs. I tore my rotator cuff and fractured my wrist, requiring surgery and physical therapy. The store manager says the spill was caused by another customer an hour earlier and that they hadn't had a chance to clean it up. As a result, the store's insurance company denies responsibility. Can a lawyer help determine whether the store can still be held accountable? You hate to hear these things, and I know it's very common in your world, Bruce. You hear it all the time with a big insurance company and a big grocery store chain probably that says, nah, we're not going to take responsibility.
Well, unfortunately, it's getting to be more and more often that we hear that the responsible party isn't accepting responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular case, the law in Florida has become more difficult for the victim of a slip and fall in someplace like a grocery store.
Okay.
However, it's very clear that when the grocery store has notice of a hazard, they have a duty to act upon that.
Okay.
In other words, the manager was on notice for an hour. There is no excuse that they were too busy. They're never too busy to protect the clients or the customer's safety.
Right.
They had a duty to immediately either put up warning signs of the hazard, or it was probably not that hard to clean up the hazard.
Right.
But being on knowledge for 1 hour, they are responsible, and this person is entitled to have their medical bills from the past and in the future paid, is entitled to collect for pain and suffering in the past, pain and suffering in the future, any loss of wages or income, and other intangible damages.
Yeah.
So yes, a experienced personal injury lawyer would be able to help.
Oh, no doubt.
The injured person make the store accountable.
I mean, you would hope that something like this would never end up in actual litigation, but it could. But the likelihood is they're going to recognize, okay, she's got an attorney representing her. We need to stop the nonsense and start working with her on a solution, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's a really wonderful way to look at it, too, is you're not going to necessarily end up in court, but boy, if you do, you want experience on your side, right?
You certainly do.
All right, well, I'm going to give out the number here in a second so that if this person is listening, they can reach out directly, get some help. But, Bruce, I want to thank you again for a very positive outlook on this particular case, and I'm looking forward already to talking to you next week.
Okay. Likewise, Todd. Thank you very much.
Take care now. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce L. Shiner, attorney for the injured. And if you find yourself in a similar situation, what you might want to do is call the Port Charlotte office of Associates and Bruce L. Shiner directly at this number, 941-743-7777. 941-743-7777. If you don't have an immediate problem and you're just curious about the law, you can always send a question in by going to our website and typing Bruce in the keyword search box. Either way, please remember to tell them that Todd Matthews sent you.